welcome to Ask and You Shall Grow. I'm Kathy.
I'm Yasmina.
And today we're talking about the topic of fixed versus growth mindset.
So let's get into it.
Yes. Okay, so we were talking about limiting beliefs, and we
Yes.
think that mindset has a lot to do with the way that you carry yourself, and of course feelings and psychology and other things come into it. But mindset is a huge part of it. And what I noticed, and I'm not sure if you did too, is that people who don't really enjoy life as much and end up not getting a life that they find satisfying tend to be more fixed in their thinking.
Definitely. Yeah.
So first of all, what is fixed versus growth mindset? How do you define fixed or growth mindset?
Fixed mindset this is what it is and it cannot be changed. This is purely like static.
Yeah.
And if you think about progress, about excelling into an activity, it's more like, oh, this is talent. And
You're born
they
with it.
just, yeah, these people were born with it. Whereas a growth mindset is more about the progress, more about the journey, not that much about the results. So the result is flexible. It's like it can be achieved even if it wasn't achieved from the beginning.
I
Because
agree
things
with that.
can
Yeah.
change, and if you put the right intention into it, if you put the right effort and enough effort into something, then you can
Achieve something you didn't think you could achieve, let's say.
Exactly.
Right. I think so too. Got a lot to do with, I don't know if you've heard of the locus of control.
Yeah, okay.
So the locus of control is when people think I have control over life, and
Yeah.
people think that life has control over me. So the control is either you think I can change things, I have power, or no, I don't have power. The world is powerful and I'm just living it. And it's coming to me. Underlying thing behind the fix and the growth. Fix is like, I have no control. Today it will be a bad day because it's Friday 13th and that's an unlucky day. So I'm going to lose the football match. Or, wait a minute, I actually don't have to be lucky. I'm really training hard at football every week. I've got so much, I might not be the most talented, but I've put so much effort in and I've gotten better. So maybe I'll win because actually I'm putting in the effort. So you're putting the control on yourself.
Yeah.
Not, oh my God, it's Friday 13th, we're screwed. It's bad luck today. Or, when you don't win something, it's just luck. Luck is it's external and wait a minute, I can be lucky because I choose to be. That's like you giving yourself the power.
Yeah, true. But it also matters how we feel about it. Because if we really blame the outside world for things not working out for us, that's not really turning out well. See?
Well, look, in the end, they're not good or bad. It's just that when you're fixed, you will be stuck more.
Yes, definitely.
Because you are dependent on whether life gives you luck or not, instead of it being, I'm going to create that luck myself.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what it is about. Like if things are not turning out for you, maybe you should be doing things different. And if you have a fixed mindset, you're going to say, I cannot do things different. This is how I am. I cannot change.
Exactly.
And the world is influencing me. And if I cannot achieve that, it's because of some outside circumstances. But if you have a growth mindset, you say, okay, I'm having a hold of the situation and I can push through. I can find the right solutions because I'm changing.
Do you think there's a downside to being growth though? Because I think the fixed mindset obviously doesn't look like a great mindset to have, but there are some benefits to both, I think. I've noticed that when people have a fixed mindset, they also have more of a sense of identity. They're like, I'm from here, so I identify with this, and that's good and bad. And then the bad is like, I can't do anything about it. But it could be that I go, no, because I can choose not to allow that. And that's the growth. But is there like actually a good side of the fix?
Do you think that is connected to having a fixed mindset?
Definitely.
Because
I think they're more fixed with their identity as well. Because they think that things are luck or, they're born here and they didn't have a choice. They don't have a choice in general.
Yeah, because what I'm thinking is that if you really know who you are and you're not accepting things that you don't like, that others are trying to even impose on you, it's because you know who you are and you have a deep sense of like self-awareness. And you are like basically like a whole human being. You know your values and you stand up for your values.
Regardless of the other stuff that you think could be.
So,
but what I'm trying to explain is that sometimes can be a comfort for a person.
Yeah.
To be like, I'm from here and it's not really my fault that life screwed me over because I'm unlucky because I was born here and that didn't give me chances or, I'm this way, so life didn't give me opportunities. So there's almost a safeness that you get from that. At least I don't get it, but I think people do. Which is why they're like, oh, I can't help that. So
yeah, for
some
people, definitely. If you really want to grow, it's to get out of your comfort zone. if you're curious and if you are looking for, okay, what are other ways to feel life, to experience, to be.
What I think can be the downside as well so obviously the fixed mindset, the downside could be, you are kind of helpless. Like, I can't do anything. I'm never going to be the NBA star I want to be because, I'm just not made for it. Instead of, hey, wait a minute, I could work on that and maybe I could get better and maybe one day I will. But right now, let's just work on it for now. The downside of the growth is that you give too much power to yourself and you think you control everything. So you're disappointed when things don't happen because you try again and again and again and it doesn't happen. You're like, but why? And you're trying a new way and you're like, but it's still not working. So like that can be also a downside in a way because you're almost never good enough and you always need to be better and grow. Instead of just being like, I just am and that's enough.
What I'm thinking is that actually if you have a growth mindset, even if you are, like, say, failing, right? Because a situation didn't turn out in the way that you planned it.
Right.
And you worked for it really hard.
And you're trying again in new ways and again.
Yeah, just imagine, because also working with fighters now for mobility, it's if you go into the ring and you have a fight and you really put your all into it, your all intention, your heart dedication, heart, everything you're putting into that fight, and you lose. Because I've seen people lose.
Yeah, that's harsh.
People fighting who lost their fights. And what do you do in that situation? If you have a fixed mindset, you're going to say, okay, yeah, anyway, this was it. I should give up. The winner is meant for it, but I'm not. I will never be good at it because I lost this fight.
Right. Times success comes after many, many failures. And I think that's also what people sometimes don't understand, that sometimes you fail many times at something to succeed.
Also, the human brain, especially women's brain, is like made to think about the failures more. Yeah. It can be like 100 positive things and one negative, and we are more prone to remembering that one bad thing. We need to defend ourselves, like we need to protect ourselves, to be safe.
That's true.
And the brain is just actually programmed that way. But we can reverse that by working on having a growth mindset, for instance.
Yeah.
And looking at the positive side, looking at the journey more than at the end result.
I think the key maybe for what you're saying, which is like, because there are always going to be downsides to either whatever you are. It's not perfect. If you're strong, you're also stubborn. These things come together sometimes. But I think maybe the key is to keep perspective of the fact that the journey and the progress that you've made, and look back at it and be like, wow, I've really progressed here. That's so great. And to appreciate where you've come from and how far you've come. Yeah. And then if you win, great. And if you do well, great. But the fact that you already progressed is beautiful. To celebrate things, actually.
Yes, exactly. Celebrate, but at the same time also being mindful that things are always changing. Yeah. And you don't have to be full of yourself. Actually, it would be a bad idea to be full of yourself. If you get a lot of wins, not good, especially if you're getting to the point where you want to be very early, very soon. And you don't actually get to do the hard work.
Right, the patience part as well that's required, I think, as well, for sometimes to succeed at what you want. Because what I find really interesting is when you think about children, when they're learning to walk, they don't think like, oh my God, I failed. I fell over 10 times. They don't care. They try again. And at one point they're like, I can walk now. As adults, we take things way too seriously. And also it's okay to sometimes have been fixed. We're not perfect. You have to be a bit more forgiving of yourself.
You don't have to be good at everything. Nobody is, no matter how much we try. We have our weaknesses. We have our blind spots as well. But it's not about that. It's not about being fixed in your mindset. It's just acknowledging that you're human. And
some things won't go well and sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah, and we have callings, right? So what other people call talents, I would like to actually call a calling. And I feel like, for example, the educational system, because you're also in the educational system, right?
Yeah.
It's very standardized and everybody does the same. That
doesn't work for humans. I tell my students this a lot. Of course, they need to pass exams, etc. Yeah. But I tell everyone who I've taught, really, it doesn't really measure who you really are and what you're good at. Because languages are about use. So if I understand you and you communicate, that's actually the goal and you've done it already. So whether you do well on an exam is not relevant to you having achieved that. Like, you still probably achieved it. But the exam, it's about grammar and about other specific areas. Mm-hmm. And, it's standardized. So don't take that as a measure. If I tell you in the class, you're good at this, then you are good at it. And I've noticed a lot of students as well, once they break through that mindset of, oh no, but I'm not good. It's often their mindset. They've been told you're not good at this and they didn't do good at exams. The minute you start to realize, oh wait, I'm not so bad at this. Yeah. Oh, I thought I was worse. Okay.
Yeah, and it's not about being perfect or not. It's just doing something.
It's what is the goal of it? Like
True.
language is communicating. With mobility, it's, you know, to be better at the things that you're doing.
Yeah, to move better, to feel
Exactly.
more free in your body.
To do it better. If it's a competition, sure, of course, you have to win.
Not
You
necessarily.
progress.
Sometimes even losing, you know,
True.
that can teach you a lot.
But it doesn't feel great to lose every time as a boxer. You're like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I've lost every fight.
It doesn't, but it's also like a sign of, you know, being humble, learning a lot from it and doing better next time. It's like the kid, you know, who's starting to walk. It doesn't really matter. Now it also depends on your goal for sure, because
Definitely.
not everybody's an amateur. Like there are professional kickboxers as well, and then that's important for them to win. But even at that level, you know, even at that level, if you have like a really healthy and growth mindset,
Right.
even like a failure doesn't keep you down.
That's probably one of the most important things, because like everyone wants to be successful, but like to achieve whatever you want, and success is really what do you want to achieve, not about what other people think you should achieve for yourself. Like you should really be patient with yourself, and sometimes it's important to just wait until you get better. And that's the hard part for a lot of people. I think we don't want to wait. We want to be good now, but things take time.
Yeah, and I found a post on Instagram today, actually. I'm gonna rephrase it, but it's like, you know, imagine that you just take a very beautiful walk, right? And there are two people. Let's say it's just the two of us. And suddenly it starts raining. And then it started raining. Yeah, I can say, oh, nice. Now the flowers are going to have more water. It's going to be greener afterwards. Or the sun is going to be better because the clouds are going to go away. But you're going to say, oh, I don't know. It's just this situation. We're going to get wet. My hair is going to get wet. I don't know. Whatever. Or the roles can be reversed. In that way, is the rain bad? Or is it
depends
good?
how you look at it, really.
Right?
But also there's always a way around it. And I think there will always be a solution.
Yes.
If you look for it. It's the minute that you think there isn't a solution, there will be no solution. And I think that's the thing with sometimes the fixed mindset, that can be a downside, and the solution won't be there because you yourself don't want to look. Yeah. So then it's a closed door for sure.
That's also very interesting, because sometimes having a growth mindset also requires you to think that you cannot have control of everything.
True. Sometimes you need to remember, actually, I haven't got control and I don't need to. And things can go wrong, and that doesn't mean I'm a failure at everything. Humility is important, I think, as well. I think you will not always do as you want to do. As in, it won't go as fast, it won't go the way you want. Yeah. And yet you're still going to grow and progress if you keep trying.
And some things take more time, right?
Yeah. And maybe you're not doing it the right way. Maybe the solution will come to you later. You don't know. Not giving up, really.
Yes.
Yeah. So the ideal is like to try to grow, but not to be too hard on yourself.
I mean, of course, it makes sense, because if you are too hard on yourself, then you can also fall into that trap when you're like, I've tried everything, it doesn't work.
That's why I said it.
I'm a failure, you know, it sucks. You are on the right path wherever you are, and you are enough. Don't give up, because if you do give up, you might be very close to achieving your goal.
Right there.
And you missed it. Because like when you start your own business, also just don't have money, right? And you live from one day to the next, and you cannot really afford to live the life that you want. It takes time.
It does. And also I think what helps a lot with, to be honest, with just growth is to know who you are. So I think the first step is reflecting and being like, who am I? What do I want to do? How do I want to grow? And why? The why is so important. Why am I trying to grow here? Do I want to be a boxer so everyone likes me and I get like lots of people on my like that think I'm great? Or am I doing it because, you know, I know that this is what I meant to do and my heart feels drawn to it? Like when it's deep in your soul and your heart, there's something different about it.
Now, how do you find your why?
I feel like life is an experiment in that way. You kind of try things out and you figure out what the why is for you. And you ask yourself, what makes me feel happy, like fulfilled? The why ends up being that. That is why. So in my case, teaching is an example. When I was a teenager, I went through this whole like existential crisis, as teenagers do. And I didn't know what I was doing in my life. I was like, why am I here? Every teenager knows. You will know. You've been there too, huh? I was like, what am I doing? Why do I work? I don't care about the world. Why do I exist? Like, what is the point? And at the end, the conclusion was, I was like, actually, I can choose what I want to be and do. And what I know I want to do is help people. I was like, I enjoy doing things for others. That doesn't mean every second of every day I need to sleep, I need to eat, I need to have a life. But I knew that I would have meaning when I helped others. So it started with teaching. It's different all the time, but I know that was my purpose. Mm-hmm. And when I figured that out, I was like, oh, I feel happy when I do that. that is what I'm meant to do. So like everyone has their own thing. They figure it out as you kind of experiment in life and you do jobs and you do something like, this isn't really for me. And
Yeah, because it's not following
it's
your
not,
purpose.
and it's also not the same for everyone.
Yeah, but for me, I really resonate with what you said. And actually, also for me, it's sometimes hard to not get lost. But interesting, I taught a group class and it was mobility. And it was so interesting because in that moment, I realized like, this is why I'm here and why I do the work that I do. Because mobility is different than yoga, is different than Pilates, is different than any other more like gym classes. And it was more fun, more playful. People were interacting with each other because I asked them to pair up in pairs of two. And they were also playing a lot. And I could see the focus in their eyes. I could see the laughs, the smiles. And in that moment, I was just sitting there looking at them and just smiling. And it was just like a wholesome experience for me.
You feel it deeper than other things you do.
Yeah, exactly. Because in that moment, I was like, this is why I'm doing it.
But now you're giving it to others.
Now I'm giving it to others, and I also got people like you, and also even the other coach I'm collaborating with my boyfriend as well. So people who are actually supporting me in this journey.
Yeah.
And I'm also giving this to them.
So as a tool, what would you say can help people? If let's say you're discovering like, oh my God, I'm fixed. I do that because that was me. I was also fixed once. I remember being like, obviously you're not fully fixed or fully in, no one's fully in one. You maybe in some areas a bit more fixed and some areas a bit more growth oriented. The tool, how would you get out of that thinking, the fixed?
And it's all about finding out first.
That's like awareness.
First of all, awareness. Yeah. Find out what they want and find out how much they are aware of. Because not a lot of people are aware of their why.
That's true. That's actually the hardest part, even. Until you get to that, the rest seems a bit confusing.
Yeah.
Because you can't really go forward without anything you're doing. You're like, I want to go forward, but with what? But I think awareness also that you're being fixed. I have no choice. Everything's not, I can't control it. Then you're like, oh, wait a minute. Is that actually true? The minute you question whether what you're saying to yourself is true is when it starts the journey. Because you're like, wait a minute, maybe actually I have a choice. Maybe I can change things. What if I tried something else? That's like the beginning of discovery. And then you explore until you discover what that is that you really feel suits you.
Yeah, and it's also, is this the result that I'm looking for? Is this the only way?
Are there other ways? A big tool for me was seeing little things that I could do to change my life. Little things. So, for example, I quit, I don't know, drinking 3 years ago. It's an example of something I let go of that I was like, I don't think that really works for me. But I have such a fixed identity in it, as in my identity was so connected to going out to partying with my friends and drinking. I was like, what would it be like not to drink? I don't know how that looks because for quite a few years I've done this now. And I was like, okay, well, why don't I try not to do it and see how it feels? Maybe I'm going to have fun. Who knows how it will be? I started to do other activities and I thought, oh, I really enjoy this. And then I figured out, oh, wait, that isn't so fixed in who I am.
Yeah.
And of course, it's a small thing to change. Not to drink. It could be that you decide, oh, I'm not going to smoke anymore, whatever. Anything you're like, I don't know that works for me. The minute you let go of parts of your identity that you feel are like really you, the more you discover that you're not that, you're not that rigid in who you are.
You're not what is happening to you, right?
But it becomes so ingrained in your habits that you really feel it's you. And that can be tricky to go around in your mind as well.
Yeah, but if we do that, exactly as you said, to just let go of that thing that's
just one thing. You're like, let's try this and see how life is when I change this one thing. Just one. And then you go, oh, if I could change that, I could change something else that I don't like. And you're like, oh, I'm discovering who I am in a different way.
And then actually what is part of your identity is not that the situation or what was happening to you, but rather how you reacted to it. Yeah. And if you were willing to let it go or not. And that defines you.
But that's it for the episode. Thank you for watching and tuning in.